Welcome to our Unit 7 about fractions. I'm very excited to share with you some information and some skills that will be important as we learn about fractions. The objective of this lesson is to develop a conceptual understanding of a unit fraction and how they are used to build other fractions. So a couple of the definitions that we need to know. First of all, we need to understand what a fraction is. Well, a fraction is a number that names parts of a whole or part of a set. In this particular drawing right here, we see a rectangle divided into three parts, and this shaded part represents 1/3 of the whole. In this particular drawing, we have a set of three dots, and two of them are circled, and so that represents 2/3 of the full picture of the set. Now, a unit fraction is a fraction whose numerator is going to be 1. It shows one equal part of a whole. So this shaded area, there are 4 parts in this whole, and this one particular shade is 1/4 or 1 unit fraction of the 4. I want you to, a lot of you may not be familiar with what a numerator and a denominator are, so let's look at this. The numerator is the number on the top of a fraction, which tells us how many equal parts are in the fraction. So if you look at this particular fraction right here, we have 1/3. So there is one part of the 3. Now, denominator, that's the lower number. The bottom number of a fraction tells how many equal parts of the whole it is divided into. So if you look at, here's one whole. We've divided into 3 parts, and we've shaded one part, which represents our fraction. So it is 1 part of 3. We're going to be practicing a little bit of trying to get ourselves acquainted with this, and this is an activity that we will be doing in our class tomorrow. So let's go on. I want you to look at this particular rectangle right here. It is divided into 4 different triangles. They are each equal. They are of equal size because a fraction is in equal parts. There are 4 triangles, and the question is, as we read it, it says use the triangles from our page that we'll be practicing with. Count the equal parts of the whole. What unit fraction of the whole shape is the blue triangle? So if you look at this rectangle, there are 4 equal parts in the whole. The blue triangle is 1/4 of the whole shape. We'll be practicing a little bit more, but you can kind of look at that, and I'd like you to kind of read through these and see if you can kind of understand what the unit fraction is that they're looking for. Now, I put a few rectangles here. I want you to notice that these unit fractions that are listed here, this is a 1 whole. And then look at the larger the denominator, the bottom number, the bigger the number becomes, the smaller is the unit fraction. So each unit fraction is only 1. So notice that as a half gets smaller, when we get down to 1/12, it's quite a small fraction of the whole. Now let's read through this and let's apply what we've discussed so far and see if we can understand what we're talking about as we review and discuss what equal parts are. We should be familiar with equal parts as we discussed division and how it required equal parts. Let's count the equal parts in the whole. What unit fraction of the whole shape is the blue triangle? So we know, although there are only 4 colors, what we're looking for is not the colors, but the triangles. Now these triangles are designed in a way that they look like a rectangle, but we're going to be counting the triangles. So there are 8 triangles. There are 8 equal parts of the whole shape. So we know if we count each of these, we've got 8. One blue triangle, not both of these, but one blue triangle is 1/8 of the whole shape. For confirmation of we can see that it is 8 and it is 1/8 of the whole shape. Now here we're going to problem solve. Write the unit fractions for the whole. Next, shade 3 parts. Then show the shaded fraction as a sum of the unit fractions. So just for time's sake, I have demonstrated, first of all, it says write the unit fraction for the whole. Well, this whole piece is 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. It is 6 parts. The whole is divided into 6 parts. And remember, a unit fraction is always just one part of the whole. So I've divided it into 6 unit fractions. Now, then it says, next, shade 3 parts. So I've shaded 3 parts. It's a little difficult to do that skillfully, but that's what I've done. Then it says then show the shaded fraction as a sum of unit fractions. So here's our 3, and I have used the sum of 3 unit fractions. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3/6. For confirmation, there is our assessment of that. It says unit fractions and fraction bars. Now, fraction bars are simply a way to demonstrate a fraction. So you can represent a fraction with a fraction bar. The denominator tells us how many equal parts the whole is divided into, and the numerator tells us how many equal parts you're talking about. So here again, here is our demonstration. Here is one whole, and this whole has been divided into 3 parts. And the shaded area is 1 part of 3, so it's 1/3. Now, a unit fraction, again, as we review through this, a unit fraction has a numerator of 1. It will always have 1 as its numerator. Shade the rest of the fraction bar at the right below to represent unit fractions. What patterns do you see? And again, I hope that you note that as the number increases on the denominator, the bottom, the smaller the unit fraction becomes. Let's now build some fractions with unit fractions. So write the unit fraction for each whole. Next, shade the correct number of parts. Then show each shaded fraction as a sum of the unit fractions. So the first one is demonstrated for us. It says this particular whole is divided into 5 equal parts, and then it indicates that we need to shade 2 parts. So here's 2 parts shaded. 1/5 plus 1/5 equals 2/5. Now look at number 10. I have done this so you can see what we are doing. It says divide the whole into 3 parts. Well, it has been already demonstrated, 1, 2, 3. And I have demonstrated it as 3 unit fractions, right? 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. That equals the whole. Now it says shade 2 parts of that, of our bar fraction. And here's 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3 that are shaded. You will be practicing this, so please become familiar with this as we work through it. Now, to review what we've discussed what the definition of a fraction is. We've discussed the definition of a unit fraction. And finally, we have discussed and identified what a numerator and a denominator are. Now, please be prepared to explain what a unit fraction is and how they are used to build other fractions. Now, use the forms that I have provided in your homework to write information and notes for your understanding. Good luck, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.